definitely quite significant when it comes to 4 games. A $50 drop is very significant, actually.
Welcome, everyone, to Dinging Corners, a baseball podcast powered by SlabStox. I am your host, Nate, and today I'm here with Aaron, and we are going to be talking about 3 up, 3 down for the young baseball season. So what I mean by 3 up, 3 down is not necessarily that 3 of the players are going up in price and 3 are going down, but that 3 players have started out hot that maybe you weren't expecting, and 3 players have started out cold that you definitely were not expecting. So we're going to cover these guys. We're going to give a special shout out to somebody who plays both ways and has been terrible at both. So let's get into it. We're going to start up with the 3 up because they are the guys that are unexpected, and then we're going to go into 3 down because there's a little bit more conversation going on there. So, Aaron, welcome to Dinging Corners, your favorite podcast, and Sam's favorite podcast.
I don't know about that.
Isn't that right? Nobody can prove me wrong there. And so let's get right into 3 up, 3 down here, and let's talk about number 1 is an angel. It's not Mike Trout. It's not Shohei Ohtani. It's not Justin Upton. It's not Anthony Rendon. The list could keep going. It's David Fletcher. David Fletcher, who was a stud last year, admittedly. Not a ton of power, but a stud. This year he has started off, and he is pursuing not 400, not Ted Williams levels. He's in pursuit of 500 average. And so far, so good through 4 games. Will it happen? Probably not. But I don't want to rule it out. We're 4 games in. He only has 56 left. Who knows? Maybe he gets 500. But let's cover his stats and let's talk about him a little bit. So on the year, David Fletcher is hitting .556 with a .609 slugging and a 660 or .609 on base and a .667 slugging. He's currently walking 17.5% of the time, only striking out 13% of the time. I know it's only 4 games, and you should take all these stats with a grain of salt because it's only 4 games. But still impressive that he's walking that much and striking out that little. He's currently hitting the ball 31% of the time opposite field, which is really nice to see, not strictly a pull hitter. He doesn't have the power to be a pull hitter, so he needs to slap the ball all over the field. But he's making contact at 50% hard contact, which is really nice to see. If you're going to be slapping the ball all over, you want to be hitting it hard, getting it through those gaps. And 37.5% medium contact, but then a 62.5% ground ball rate. Ground ball rate is kind of scary. Obviously, they cannot shift him, right, Aaron? They can't put him on a shift because he's spreading the ball all around. But if he's not hitting the ball with his hard contact on the ground, getting it through those holes quickly, if it's medium or soft contact, a lot of those hits are going to disappear. But currently, David Fletcher, and who would have thought this? Well, me, because I have him on my fantasy team. He leads the league in average on base percentage and hits.
Humble brag.
But yeah, a little from me for the picking him up. Also picked up Brandon Lowe, who's like 7th player in fantasy. Of course, it's you set your teams weekly, which is ridiculous, but that's for another time. And I have not played either of them yet, so I haven't got any of their points, even though they're like top 10 players in the league. David Fletcher, extremely nice player. He's only scored 2 runs because the guys behind him, shout out Mike Trout, shout out Shohei Ohtani, have really failed offensively going forward in the early going here from driving him in, even though he's on base 60% of the time, 61% of the time. So, Aaron, you got anything on David Fletcher's prices?
Oh, yes. This is one of Nate's favorite cards, is the Top Series 2 2019. I know that's one of your favorite products. The gold numbered out 2019 has went from $5, around $5 to $7 in June, to now $20 buy it now was the most recent sale on eBay. So people are definitely going after David Fletcher cards. He has a 2015 first Bowman Chrome. I do not think he has an auto, but he does have a non-auto. So the Topps rookies from 2019 Topps Series 2 are the ones to chase after. Now here's the thing. The pop reports on his cards are extremely small because, like we see in baseball so many of these times, these guys will get really hot. No one was grading them. So anything that is PSA graded will be selling for ridiculous prices. There wasn't even any really PSA Top Series 2 Fletcher cards I could find that have sold recently. So there's not really much to talk about there. But if someone happened to have some, now would be a great time to list them and sell them. I think Nate would definitely agree with that.
Now would be the time. He just doesn't have the power to capture people's imaginations over the course of a full season. That being said, 60-game season, if there was ever a year for somebody to hit 400, it would be this year. Obviously, I don't think anybody will, but it wouldn't shock me if somebody like David Fletcher stayed hot for, 2 months, came out hot and hit 400 for 2 months, and then you'd see his prices skyrocket just because he'd have that nugget to his name. But the likelihood of that happening, slim to none. If you're getting good prices right now, I would sell. Number 2 on the list is Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis is a card market darling, so to speak, of the last 4 games and last year when he came out and hit 6 home runs in like 18 games, something like that.
Yeah, 18.
He was a kind of a darling last year. Then the offseason happened. Nobody was really talking about him. You could have got his rookie cards for $1 or less a piece before the season started. And this is, mind you, this is coming from somebody who's ripped a lot of Top Series 1 retail. Every time I go into Target, I got to grab a couple packs. You never walk out of Target without grabbing a couple packs. That's rule number 1. And I was just counting, and it's like 13 Kyle Lewis's. So I like me some Kyle Lewis. But that being said, we're going to get into his numbers, and it pains me, but I wouldn't be buying in. I know some people will be upset about that, but here we are. So he's hitting 421 with a 500 on base and a 737 slugging. He's walking 13.5% of the time. He's striking out 41% of the time, which is nothing new. He struck out a ton last year. He just made hard contact in between striking out. He's got 2 home runs, which is nice to see, a 40% line drive rate, which is nice to see. Don't always be going for home runs in Seattle, huge ballpark. Try to go gap to gap, and if you luck into a home run, you luck into a home run. 50% hard contact rate, but a 30% soft contact rate, which we'll get into here briefly when we get all through the rest of the numbers. Swing and missing 16% of the time, and swinging at pitches outside the zone 26% of the time. Why those numbers are important is because the 30% soft contact rate, when he makes contact, which isn't all the time, he swings and misses 16% of the time. 30% of the time, it's soft contact. So he's striking out a ton, and he makes soft contact 30% of the time. That is a recipe for a disaster. He's swinging at pitches outside the zone. Even if he makes hard contact on pitches like that, usually it's hard to drive those balls. So you don't really want to see 26% outside the zone chase rate, right? So Kyle Lewis, while his baseline numbers look great, I would not expect a guy that's striking out 41% of the time and swinging at pitches outside the zone that much to continue this rate. I don't think he could be pretty good. He still hits the ball quite hard, 50% hard contact rate. He hit the ball hard last year. As long as he continues to make hard contact, hits the ball, he should be okay. But if that disappears, like Keston Hiura makes hard contact all the time and strikes out, Kyle Lewis could follow the same mold and have defensive value in the outfield that Keston doesn't really have at second. I'm just not willing to bet on it. So what do you got for card prices?
Yeah, so now Nate's second favorite product, 2020 Top Series 1. That's like Nate said, Kyle Lewis is in. His base rookies, like Nate said, were around $1 before going into the season. They were trending upwards of $5 after his first couple of games. I saw one lot end for $15 per card, which seems ridiculous. I think that Nate will have to agree with that. $15 per Kyle Lewis base rookie seems absolutely ridiculous. Going on to his gold.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, going on to his gold Top Series 1 number 2020. If you watch Nate's baseball investing card videos, he talked about all the different parallels for Topps flagship products. The golds are always numbered of the year that they're produced in. That one was selling in early July for only $20, and now they're going for $55. Probably more the next sale since the last one was a buy it now a couple days ago. But Kyle Lewis has definitely doubled in price or more. And then looking at his Bowman Chrome autos, the BGS 9.5 Gem Mint with a 10 autograph from 2016 Bowman Draft, which was a loaded set, keep in mind. Nate knows that. 2016 Bowman Draft with Bo Bichette, Forrest Whitley, Gavin Lux, Kyle Lewis, of course, Alex Kirilloff. The list just keeps going. Those went from $80 preseason up to over $230 now for BGS 9.5. So that's 193% growth. Seems a bit ridiculous to be buying in at $230 for a BGS 9.5 Bowman Chrome Auto. Nate, do you agree with that?
I would agree. If he does, you could have bought in last season before Juan Soto won the World Series for like $300 for Juan Soto. I'd much rather have Juan Soto on a much better team and a much better hitter than I would Kyle Lewis.
At the time, but also keep in mind.
At the time, you can't buy Kyle Lewis. You cannot come close to buying Juan Soto Bowman Chrome rookie for $300 now.
But let's also keep in mind that the market growing.
The market has exploded. Yeah, but the baseball market for Bowman Chromes, has that exploded?
In overall, no. But I think right now what we're seeing is guys like Kyle Lewis, these new guys that the new people in the market are seeing, they're starting to take on a little bit better too than the stars that have came in the past 4 years that people just aren't excited about at the time, which is why this is such a reactionary market right now. Looking at these three up that Nate's talking about, guys like this caliber name doubling in a couple games is very scary if you're buying in. However, let's keep in mind that these dudes have another great 10 games and they'll probably double again. So there's a lot of different routes that this can go. Really unknown for most of these guys, but Nate will definitely give us his best shot at projecting on them.
I will say, you say guys like this, Kyle Lewis is a big name. He was drafted 12th overall, I think, 11th, 12th, somewhere around there, out of Mercer in the first round by the Mariners. He was projected to go much higher than that. He did not. He dropped because Mercer's a small school. So it is a big name. Kyle Lewis is a big name. And the only reason people haven't heard about him and the only reason he's making his major league debut or made his major league debut last year and is in his second year this year at the age of 25 is because he dealt with a bunch of injuries. Years and multiple years lost to injuries, or else you would have been hearing about Kyle Lewis when he was 23, 22.
Yeah.
Now you're hearing about him when he's 25. So I saw some people comment online saying, 25-year-old rookie not buying. This isn't exactly the same story as if a 25-year-old pitcher that labors through single A, double A, triple A for years and years and years and finally makes the show. Of course you don't invest in that guy. But Kyle Lewis is the type of guy that dealt with injuries, and didn't even play in triple A, and now he's playing in the major leagues. So there is more upside here than your regular 25-year-old rookie.
No, I agree. And my point of saying guys like this is obviously I'm very entwined in the basketball community on Instagram, looking at people who are in basketball first and then looking at baseball second. Those people probably had no idea about Kyle Lewis, what he was about. They drafted in the first round. As obviously you know that. Obviously, most of the Digging Corners listeners know that. But the people even driving this card up to now $230 might have had no idea. So let's keep in mind, like people listening to your show maybe aren't even looking at Kyle Lewis as a guy. Obviously they're looking at him as like as a name that they knew and a guy that's now playing well, but not the same lens as someone from the basketball market that's just like, holy cow, these numbers are amazing, let me jump on him or whatever.
Fair point. I will say this about Kyle Lewis before we have to move on because we've taken too long on him, is that if you're looking to invest in Kyle Lewis, I wouldn't go big and do Bowman Chrome. I would go small, get a couple Top Series 1 or try to find Top Series 1 retail because for some reason every time I opened Top Series 1, I pulled Kyle Lewis and Bubba Starling back to back. I don't know why. But buy, set a budget of $25 and buy 5 Kyle Lewis cards. Maybe one gets graded, send it in, and see what happens from there. But I wouldn't go over and above and beyond, a small sum because he is still a huge risk. So I don't want to say, no, don't invest because he is the type of guy that, maybe he does hit 4 home runs in the next week and all of a sudden people are like, oh, you idiot. Why did you tell me not to invest? His $5 card is now $35. That is very possible for a guy like Kyle Lewis if he gets hot. Just his baseline numbers scream a guy that's going to regress unless he continues to make hard contact in the limited amount of times he makes contact. Anyways, we've taken too long. We were supposed to leave this to 25 minutes, and we haven't even made it to the guy number 3 yet. So Ramon Laureano, we'll try to speed this up. Ramon Laureano is our third player we're talking about, outfielder for the A's. He hit .412 last year with a 500 on base and a .647 slugging. He's walked this year. Those are numbers this year. 13.6% walk rate, 9.1% K rate. He's hit a home run. He is currently, and this is ridiculous, 37% pull, 31% center field, 31% opposite field for hit direction, 25% soft contact, 37.5% medium contact, 37.5% hard contact, 31% line drive rate, 32% ground ball rate, 37% fly ball rate. So he's in the 30s for everything. You know, everything is just spread out for him. I do not know what to make of it. I know he was good last year, and he is good this year, but the fact that he's not necessarily pulling the ball to any field is really nice, or pulling the ball or just hitting it the opposite way. He's spreading it all around, super nice. But soft contact, 25%, and not a ton of medium hard contact at both 37%. I don't really know what to make of. The fact that he's not like line drives or fly balls, one or the other, I don't really know what to make of. The ground ball rate is nice, 32%. So I guess I like that. I like that combined with his all fields approach. I don't really know what to make of his soft, medium, hard contact. His swinging strike rate is 7.3%, which is really nice. He's not K'ing a ton. You know, we just talked about Kyle Lewis swinging strike rate of 16%. Ramon Laureano is less than half of that. I don't really have much to say about Ramon Laureano. He's a nice player that the A's got from the Astros for basically free. And I think he'll keep it up based on these numbers, but they're very awkward.
As for his sports cards, want to spread out what we're looking at here. Of course, we talk about the different investing videos and the different cards to target and which ones you should be buying. But in reality, a lot of cards in the marketplace can gain in value, even ones that we might not recommend, just because we think the other ones are better and will gain more value over time. But Topps Chrome Base Rookie Auto is another great card you could buy of a player from pre-July or preseason for Ramon Laureano. $20 was the price, and now it's all the way up to $40 on Buy It Now. So another double up there for Laureano on the Topps Chrome Base Rookie Auto. Definitely other cards you can buy of him. There's, he's got the flagship rookies. I did not find very good sales data on his gold rookies, which I think is a pretty good indicator of a player and how their values are going. They're scarce enough that they cost a little bit more. And there's also not a million sales data points to dig through. So that's why I like to use the gold rookies as a little benchmark for them, much like the Prism Silvers or Prism Base PSA 10s in basketball.
Okay. So that is our 3 up. David Fletcher, Kyle Lewis, Ramon Laureano, all very nice players, all two-way players, defensive and offensive players, very different profiles. David Fletcher is more of a singles guy with an occasional pop in there. Kyle Lewis is all power, nothing else. And Ramon Laureano is a nice little combination of both. Very interesting, very unexpected investment opportunities in the early going. Maybe not Ramon Laureano because he was really good last year and he's just continued to be good. But the other two, very interesting. Now let's get onto the 3 down, which is the more interesting section for me. I'd say, Aaron, and this is because we are talking about, by Fangraphs WAR, we're talking about the 1st, 8th, and the 11th worst players in all of baseball this year. Of course, 4 games, not much to speak of, but there's only 56 games left. So 4 games is important when there's only 56 games to make up the terrible starts they've had. And number 1 really hurts. Really hurts my heart, really hurts your heart, and that is Christian Yelich. He is currently last place in Fangraphs WAR leaderboard at -0.4. There's a couple -0.3 guys and a bunch of -0.2, but Christian Yelich takes the cake for the worst player in baseball through 4 games at -0.4 WAR. He is currently hitting .045 average with a .087 on base percentage and a .182 slugging. I said the points to really emphasize how terrible it was. A .045 batting average.
Wasn't that one hit that was a home run? Wasn't that it?
One home run. He has a 0.00 BABIP because he has not hit a ball in play and made gotten a hit on a ball in play yet. He is currently walking 4.3% of the time, striking out a solid 39% of the time. That is good for a -32 WRC plus. So 100 is league average. 0 is like you shouldn't even be playing baseball. -32.
That's so
now
bad.
That is bad. So
Dude, he's got to turn it around.
last year he was hit 100. He had a 174 WRC plus, which is 74% better than the league average hitter. Currently, he is 132% worse than a league average hitter. So if you want to talk about league average, you could probably take like, I don't know, Eric Thames, but make him like a right fielder or something. So Eric Thames is a good. Well, no, that's not true. Okay, never mind. Well, Eric Thames' first baseman is like probably like a 110 WRC plus, but because it's first base, that's merely probably average, because first base is a power hitting position, and you should be hitting. So basically, he's like 132 points worse than Eric Thames, if you get my drift. Yeah. He has one hit, a home run. His ground ball rate is 54%, which is alarming because last year was like 43%. His soft, medium, hard contacts is 15.4, 38.5 for medium hard contact, and 46.2% for hard contact. So that's nice to see. But his opposite field contact percentages, 7.7%, which is way down from last year. Christian Yelich is known for driving the ball to all fields, and he is currently hitting the ball to left field 7.7% of the time. That is terrible. His swinging strike rate is up to 13%. So you want to find two reasons why he is not doing well? He's grounding out a ton. He is making way less contact at pitchers he's swinging at, and he is pulling the ball more, which is not good. Pulling the ball on the ground, recipe for disaster. Absolute recipe for disaster. It's just a bad combination. You and I have watched the games. Well, I think you've watched the games, but you were gone for a while, so I don't know how many games you got to watch. But currently he is swinging at balls that he should be driving and fouling them off, and balls that he should be fouling off, because good hitters foul balls off instead of hitting them if they know they can't drive them, and he's just swinging and missing. It has looked really bad. There's nothing about his game that has looked good currently, and the numbers back that up. What do his prices say?
Hey, you'd think that they'd have dropped a lot from the peak, but they have not. They've actually been at an all-time high. Well, all-time meaning this 2020. July 1, they were selling for $180. July 28th. Yeah, sorry, 2000. Yep, 2013 Topps Update PSA 10. That's my fault. $180 at the beginning of July. Now they're selling for $300 as of yesterday. This is not as of like 4 or 5 days ago. This is as of yesterday. Maybe they were around $325 before the season started. I did not look up till like July 24th, right when it started. But all we have to know is that these things have barely moved in price down, and they're still $300. If he has a couple more games of this, I fully expect him to fall down to $250, $275, especially looking at what guys like Ronald Acuna have suffered in price. I will talk about him in a little bit. But I don't really know what to make of it, because I know that there's a ton of hype that came for Christian Yelich right around the beginning of the season. You saw the ESPN article that was saying he's better than Mike Trout. So
that was stupid. I'm a Brewers fan. You're a Brewers fan, and yet I still think that was the stupidest thing I've ever read.
I liked hyping it up because it's fun, but I agree with you. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I'm sure these will see some regression in the next couple of days, and then unless he changes it, if he changes how he's playing and he plays up to what he can, this is more than justified, because if he has a season to end it like he did last year, right now his prices will for sure go up because more eyes are on the market and more eyes will see what he's doing. But if he continues this, there will definitely be drops back down to 180 guaranteed, because you cannot keep up performance like this and keep above $200.
Yeah. Now, there is no doubt in my mind that Christian Yelich will figure it out.
Oh, yeah, same.
Christian Yelich is a top 2 hitter in all of baseball.
Yeah, I agree.
Him and Mike Trout, the 2 best hitters in baseball. Mike Trout's a better defender, and there's a number of guys that are better defenders, but not as good offensively. But Christian Yelich is amazing. He will figure this out. There's no doubt in my mind. I think a lot of people, the price isn't going down because people are not panicking.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not panic selling. They're not putting a $250 buy it now up there. And the cards that are going up on auction, people are still buying at the top rates because they still believe in Christian Yelich. I still believe in Christian Yelich. You still believe in Christian Yelich. The Brewers still believe in Christian Yelich, and Christian Yelich still believes in Christian Yelich, I would assume. So no doubt there in my mind that he'll figure it out.
I
It's
mean, we're
just a
talking
matter
about
of
5
when.
games. We're talking about 5
And
games
you got to
here.
remember, he broke his knee last year swinging a bat, or fractured his kneecap.
Yeah.
So, there's probably a little bit of hesitation there.
He
then
didn't even
summer
get
camp
the
comes
full
along.
spring. Yeah, he didn't get the full spring training that he's expecting either.
Yeah. So no worry there. But we're taking too long. We already passed the 25-minute mark, and we still got a couple guys to go. So let's move on.
Yes.
And number 2 is Christopher Bryant. Chris Bryant. At least if Christian Yelich is playing bad, Chris Bryant is playing just as bad. And currently he has a .059 average with a .158 on base and a .059 slugging. That's a solid 1 single on the year. For those keeping track at home, if your average and your slugging are the same, it means you only have singles. And currently he's got a -29 WRC plus as opposed to a 135 the year before. 135 obviously not as good as Christian Yelich's 174, but nothing to complain about. That's still really good. I think he had a 901 OPS, which is a down year for Chris Bryant. But currently he's walking 5.3% of the time, but striking out, and alarmingly even more than Christian Yelich, 42% of the time, which is atrocious. He has a 55.6% fly ball rate, which is really not what you want to see. A 20% infield fly ball rate, which is really, really not what you want to see. That's free outs. 20% of the time when he makes contact, he's giving up a free out. That's terrible. And he's hitting the ball 55.6% of the time to center. So his 55.6% fly ball rate and his 55.6% center rate, it's one of those things that if you're hitting fly balls and you're not hitting them hard enough to hit home runs and you're going to center constantly, you're going to have a lot of long fly ball outs, right? Just how it works. Hard and medium contact at 44.4% each, which is better than his career norms, but he's making way less contact as his swinging strike rate is 18.3%. I realize I've been looking over here, looking at you, Aaron, as I'm talking, but I should probably be looking at the camera while I'm talking. So sorry, everyone that's watching this, that you're just looking at the side of my face. But his swinging strike rate is 18.3%, which is so much higher than his previous career norms. You got to make contact. You got to stop hitting fly balls all the time, hit line drives, and stop going to center constantly. Center's nice if you're hitting line drives and occasionally hitting a dinger, but if you're constantly hitting the center, that's not what you want if you're having a ton of fly balls. So there's easily fixable things here. Make more contact, spread the ball around a little bit more, and then hitting it straight away to center, and hit more line drives, and the hits will start dropping.
Gotcha.
What are his prices right now?
Yeah, so I was looking at his 2015 tops, number 616 PSA 10. He has a ton of different tops cards out there between some short
he's
prints.
really weird.
And he was that rookie where Topps just capitalized on producing everything and anything of him, much like Vlad Guerrero. So you're going to find a lot of different Chris Bryant cards out there. But for this particular one, you can search eBay 616 2015 Topps PSA 10. It's staying around $50, $55 since July, since the season started, since his bad performance. There's not much of a change. Now, the volume is down since the season started because not as many people are probably confident in buying. But in terms of value, not much of a change.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe we'll see the same thing with our next guy, maybe not. But clearly people are not ready 4 games in after no spring training, and clearly people are not ready to give up on their superstars, if I'm learning anything from these two guys.
Yes.
Number 3 on the list is one of the youngest superstars in the league, one of, arguably 3 guys that are under the age of 22 and under, who you should be excited about. Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis are the other 2 guys, and this guy is Ronald Acuna Jr. Everyone was excited about Ronald Acuna Jr. going into the season. Before spring training started this past spring, before COVID, he was talking about 50-50 seasons, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. If he did that, sky is the limit for his prices on cards. I wouldn't be shocked, if he passed Mike Trout at that point, because 50-50 is like unheard of, impossible. But if he did it, you would see insane movement on his cards.
But I was thinking if this was a normal year and Acuna hit 50-50, we're talking over $750 a PSA 10, maybe even approaching 1,000. But that's not going to happen with the shortened season and everything going on. But keep going.
Yeah. So, like Aaron said, not going to happen with a shortened season, especially not going to happen the way he started this season. It has been atrocious. Good thing he's a good defender in center field, so he's not completely useless because he is a .143 average, 217 on base, and a 190 slugging, which is better than Yelich and Chris Bryant, but still bad. 8.7% walk rate, a 52.2% K rate. So you thought Christian Yelich was bad at 39%, and then you thought Chris Bryant was really bad at 42%, which Chris Bryant always worse than Christian Yelich. But Ronald Acuna is currently at 52% K rate. That is atrocious. He currently leads the league with 12 strikeouts. Now, some of that has to do with who he is facing. Obviously, he faced Jacob deGrom the first day of the season. That's always a tough task, and I watched almost all of that game, and Jacob deGrom came out there pumping gas. He was throwing 99. He throws 94-mile-per-hour sliders.
That's insane.
Guys are going to strike out against that. It's just going to happen. But everyone else on his team had to face Jacob deGrom, and the same players he has had to face, and they're not doing this bad. So not too many excuses there. He's got 2 singles and a double on the year. Good for an 18 WRC+, which is significantly better than Christian Yelich by 50%. But was way down from 126 the year before. His ground balls and line drives are way up. His fly balls are way down. His fly balls, 44% each on ground balls and line drives. His fly balls are way down to 11.1%. Obviously, I'm going to say this a lot. 4-game sample size is not a lot. But in the context of a 60-game season, it is. My concern is that, these guys don't get hot and all of a sudden their season-long numbers look terrible and their prices don't go up. If this was a normal season and a guy started 4 games slowly, you would not care by game 80. No concern for a 4-game sample size this crappy. That being said, right now it's what we got to work with, so we're going to work with it. He's pulling everything. He's not hitting the ball in the air. He's pulling everything 66.7% to his pull side as opposed to only 11.1% to opposite field. So he's pulling everything and he's not hitting the ball in the air. He's line drives and ground balls. His hard, medium, and soft contact is right in line with where his career averages should be, but his swinging strike rate is 20.9%, which is almost 10% higher than it was last year. So he's striking out a ton, obviously, leads the league in strikeouts, and he's not hitting the ball to all fields, and he's not hitting the ball in the air, so you're not going to be seeing the home runs and stuff. It's just a bad combination. But again, Ronald Acuna, like the other guys, I expect to figure it out.
As for 2018 Topps Update Rookie PSA 10, number 250. Of course, this is the card that everyone's been talking about for the last 6 months, year. This is just one of the biggest, most, I want to say, iconic in terms of being recognizable baseball cards of the modern, the last 3-4 years. It has gone from 225 to 230 down to 175 to 180 with a buy it now sale coming at 200. But there has been a drop in Acuna's prices. And I think what we're seeing is guys like Yelich, and if Trout were to struggle, these are dudes that have a lot of years under their belt, a lot of years of good baseball. Of course, Acuna has had a great start to his career, actually amazing, and lots more to come. But when it comes to short-term investing for some people, they aren't very patient, and they're like, I want to take my 175 and put it elsewhere right now. And they'll do that instead of waiting. This is not to say to go and sell your Acuna. Has nothing to do with that. It's just saying this is what happened. They dropped $50. Definitely quite significant when it comes to 4 games. The $50 drop is very significant, actually, which just to hit the point home that it does matter that as a struggle in the first 4 games, because people do see that and its prices have fallen. Yelich isn't necessarily the same. I know that we didn't really look at Yelich's prices by the week. This is all over the span of 1 week for Acuna. For Yelich, his was more of a stable incline up to 300, and there's kind of sitting there. For Acuna, it was very much going from 150 to 225, now down to 175. What to make of it? It all depends on how Acuna comes on and plays the following month. Could play amazing, could go up to 300. Really, anything's possible. There's no point in trying to make predictions on that or try to sway you one way or another on Acuna PSA 10s. It's really up to you on what your risk level is. Or if you're looking for long-term, Probably shouldn't be that big of a deal. One more thing to point out is that the PSA 10 population report is over 10,000 on this card. The Yelich is like a third of that. So clearly there's so much supply out there that the demand just can't keep up with that. Versus with Yelich, if you have a third of the supply in the market and who knows how many are actually being auctioned, there's so much less for people to buy so the demand can stay there.
All right. So yeah, it's definitely probably a buying time for Ronald Acuna because I don't think anybody expects him to continue hitting like this, right?
No.
I definitely don't.
And then even thinking about next season too, and what next season can bring.
Yeah, this might be the last time. This might be the last time you get a Ronald Acuna PSA 10 for under $200.
Yeah, if you think about it, the hype going into this season with the card market put him around like 250 at the peak or something. Next season, it could be 350 even with the down season. But we should move on because we're at 35 minutes.
Yeah. So lastly on this list, he did not make the 3 down list, mainly because he didn't have the same amount of plate appearances as the other guys. But I wanted to give a special shout out to Shohei Ohtani, who is currently hitting 143 with a 143 on base and a 214 slugging. He has 2 hits, 1 double. And the other day, he started for the first time in over a year, and he threw a grand total of 0 innings, gave up 3 walks, 3 hits, 5 earned runs, and currently has the spectacular infinite ERA. So if you go on like Fangraphs, they generously give him a 45, but because he got no outs and gave up 5 runs, he hasn't actually pitched any innings, so you can't actually give him an ERA. So it is, in fact, infinite. But shout out Shohei Ohtani. That is quite possibly the worst start anybody's ever had because, it's one thing to be a terrible batter and it's one thing to be a terrible pitcher, but you combine both and that is a start for the ages.
But that's also why combining both into superpower of a ton of hits and a ton of strikeouts can be so amazing. You can have such high highs, but such low lows at the same time.
Yep.
Like we're seeing now. And in terms of his cards, I actually did get some numbers on this. His 2018 Topps update, PSA 10 has went from $130 to $90, pre-debut to after debut. So clearly people have lost a little bit of interest. Not to say it can't come back. Of course it can come back.
Yep. Well, that is all she wrote for today's Dinging Corners. I want to give a brief apology for the boring background behind me. Aaron, if you look at Aaron's screen, obviously he's got a great background. He's got the world's greatest park behind him. He's got a Fernando Tatis autographed bat, a Brewers 1982 ball set, some cards, and I have a wood panel wall and a wood panel door because I am currently in a little bit of a quarantine until my roommate gets his COVID test back. So until then, if that happens, it's going to be a little bit boring backgrounds for me. I'm sorry about that for those of you watching today. I hope it's not too upsetting for you. But thank you for listening to Dinging Corners. Thank you for listening to our 3 Up, 3 Down. Hopefully we'll be bringing these every week for guys that had a really good week, and we'll be looking at prices for those guys that week and really bad weeks and looking at those prices along with any other extra Dinging Corners content we can bring you. So thank you, everyone, for listening today. Thank you, Aaron, for joining me.
Oh, of course.
Talking a little baseball with us. We will talk to you again next week, and everyone enjoy your rest of the week.